Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very competitive focused game. With so many people tuning into the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments and participating in said tournaments, posting their deck lists that they worked so hard on, that they finally managed to take all the way to the top of the competitive tournaments. But what about the decks that would never even see a competitive tournament? All the players that go to locals and bring their pet decks, all the players that would go to a card shop or a friend's house to play whatever decks they feel like, regardless of if people would call them good or not. They are aware that these decks would likely never top a competitive tournament, but do they merit any highlight? I say absolutely, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Today, I'm going to be showcasing a deck that I play casually, discuss the vision of the deck and how it came to be, the theories behind why I play what I play, and showcase some duels I had with them. This is What We Duel in the Shadow Realm. What's going on, everyone? Shiny Plume here, and welcome to the first episode of What We Duel in the Shadow Realm, the show where I showcase some fun casual decks people, myself included, play. So today, I want to talk about a deck that I love to play with my friends. Introducing Rikka Plant Princess. Now, you may have seen on most of my plant decks of me playing a card called Titanial Princess of Camellias. She is the first of five technically, plant princesses. And this deck came to be because the plant princesses were effectively the monsters that got me into playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in 2019, and they're still by far my favorite monsters in the game. I had my old build in 2020, but I decided to revamp the deck to be played among my friends. I have so many iterations of this very same deck, but today I just want to look over two versions. A 60 card version I play with Sun Avalon, and a 50 card version I play without Sun Avalon. For the sake of this video, we will be looking mostly at the 50 card version. So here's the 50 card list. What we're going to do is I'm going to be going through, not necessarily card by card, just kind of going through the game plan of this deck, what I want it to do, and some of the cards that really help you get there. And then I'm going to be showcasing some replays while I'm discussing this. So let's get into the deck. So let's start off with the main four plant princesses. Titanial Princess of Camellias, Talia Princess of Cherry Blossoms, Marina Princess of Sunflowers, and Shirobime Princess of Autumn Leaves. These four are the primary plant princesses. There's one in the extra deck called number 87 Queen of the Night. It's the honorary plant princess, but it doesn't really matter a whole lot. We'll get into it though. So, the main game plan revolves around getting these four monsters onto the field for kind of a beatdown, but also playing a little bit of control as well. So, what do each of them do? So, Titanial is the most important one. What it does is, while it's on the field, if either player would activate a card that targets a card on the field, or multiple cards on the field, you can tribute one plant monster to negate the activation and destroy the card. And that effect is not once per turn or once per chain because this card came out in 2008. This card is still pretty good to this day, so that's part of the reason why I still play it in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks, but it's still really good. Then we got Talia Princess of Cherry Blossoms. It gains 100 attack for each plant on the field, and it makes other plant monsters unable to be destroyed by card effects. Marina is, while it's on the field, if exactly one plant monster gets destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one card in the field and destroy it. This is not once per turn either. So a really interesting play you could do with this is if you have Marina on the field, you could start crashing your monsters into your opponent's monsters, and then Marina will start clearing the board one by one. It's really interesting. Then Shirobime is kind of the one you want to have in defense position. Shirobime is, while it's on the field, if your opponent would attack you, they attack a plant monster, they have to attack Shirobime first. And if it gets destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effect, you could special summon any plant monster from your deck. This also is not once per turn. So that's part of what makes these cards interesting, is that technically none of them are once per turn. Their effects are not really great by modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Standards, and also bringing them out as level 8s can be very difficult, but that's what this deck is for. So, what are some ways we can get these 4 monsters onto the field. Well, rarely do we ever get all 4 onto the field at once, but there's plenty of ways that this deck gets them onto the field. The first one being Lone Fire Blossom. This is the classic one. You can tribute a plant monster to special summon any plant monster from the deck. This card is a soft once per turn, so you can do it multiple times if you have multiple copies. Another card that's really good in this deck is Rose Lover. It doesn't really do anything on the field, but while it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to special summon any plant monster from your hand, and the monster you summon is unaffected by trap cards. So that card is also really good. And part of why we play the Rikka engine, aside from the fact that the field spell is ridiculous and Rikka Petal is really good for follow-up, and Tranquility is also a really good card, is the fact that we play Rikka Glamour. Rikka Glamour is a card that adds a Rikka monster from your deck to your hand, but if you tribute a plant monster, you can add a Rikka card and one other plant monster to your hand, as long as they're the same level. So, the idea with using it is to go for Snowdrop the Rikka Fairy. And Snowdrop has an effect where if it's in your hand, you can tribute a plant monster to special summon itself and one other plant monster from your hand. So not only does Glamour search a plant princess, but because you're searching Snowdrop, you can also summon it. So that's a really good part of this deck. And then of course, we play the Aroma cards because it's a good supplementary entrant to the Rikka cards. And then other cards we play that are really good in this strategy is Rose Girl. The Rose Girl is there because of the one synchro we play, which is Perialis, Empress of Blossoms. Perialis is a synchro 7 that lets you special summon any level 5 or higher plant monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. So that's one of the really good cards in this deck. And then the other cards that are really good in this deck for getting out the plant princesses include Aroma Seraphie Jasmine. Aroma Seraphie Jasmine is just one of the most broken plant monsters ever created. If you gain life points, you can search a plant monster, and you can tribute a plant monster. Points 2 to special summon any plant from the deck in defense position. It's insanity what this deck card can do. One of the interesting things is that also Jasmine says if you're at higher life points, itself and monsters at points 2 can't be destroyed by battle. So remember when I said that Shirobime makes your opponent have to attack it first? Well, if Jasmine points to it while you're at higher life points, you basically don't lose any monsters during the battle phase. Again, this is not a play that really comes up in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's still a really cool play. And another really good card in this deck is the Aroma Lilith Magnolia. This is the other reason I'm playing the Aroma cards in this deck. It's because I really want to bring out Aroma Lilith Magnolia, which makes it so that all of your plant monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects while you're at higher life points. It also has a second effect that lets you banish some cards. It's really cool. And then the other reason I'm playing the Aroma cards is for Blessed Winds. Blessed Winds is a really good recovery card. It has 3 effects. You can either send a plant monster that's in your hand or on the field to the graveyard, gain 500 life points. You can target a plant monster in your graveyard, shuffle it in the deck, and gain 500 life points. Or you can pay 1,000 life points and special summon an Aroma monster from your grave. And all 3 of these effects are really good into grind games, and this card is really easy to bring out with Aroma Blend. And the last really good card that is used in this deck to help bring out the plant princesses is Sylvan Dance Peon. Sylvan Dance Peon is a Link 2 that lets you activate the top 3 cards and special summon up to 2 plant monsters activated by the effect, but the rest of the cards go to graveyard. It's a bit of a luck-based card, but it's still like one of my favorites to play. It's just so fun. And if you get some really good hits, like say a Lone Fire Blossom or a Rikka Petal or even any of the plant princesses, you can just keep playing. So it's really cool, and it's also really good to play under Joel and Lockbird. So those are like the main highlights of this deck. So here we are back with the deck, and I just think this deck is just really cool. It's a really janky deck, but it's a really fun one to play. And that's kind of what this series is about. It's just about showcasing these really janky, fun decks I like to play. So I'm really hoping to do more videos like this in the future. So what did you guys think of this video? Do you guys like this kind of format for this series? Is there anything you guys think I should do better? Maybe if you guys want to, I can try to get some other people that I know into this series so they could talk about some of their decks that they play. Let me know how I can improve this series in the comments. But for now, during the end phase, Petal grows back. Thank you all for watching. Peace.